Coming up on the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, we talk about the commitment of Zach Evans. We've been waiting on it. We've been expecting it. It's finally here. We also have Tom Vanderford talking about our Perspectives feature that is on our podcast. We're going to talk to general fans from time to time, and we're just going to hear what's on their mind. We got about 17, 18 minutes of him. He did a fantastic job. Tune in for that. But this is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Stephen Willis, and this is the show. Normally, I want to thank you. By the way, thank you for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell because you can not only know that we're streaming, you'll know what we're streaming about, and it'll help you out. So subscribe to that. Let's build that number up pretty great. You'll see our link from time to time talking about that. But Zach Evans committed to Ole Miss, and Zach Evans is a heck of a player. He really is. He's a heck of a player. He's a former number one player in the country. I think he dropped to like 15th by the time he signed, and that was because there was a ton of drama, if you remember correctly, from early signing day to late signing day between him signing his original national letter of intent with Georgia, him not wanting to go to Georgia, getting released from that, and eventually signing with TCU. Ole Miss made up a lot of headway. This is when Lane Kiffin first took over at Ole Miss. Made a lot of headway building up. And there was a little bit of time there where we thought Ole Miss was going to win that. But TCU became the win. He's a Houston kid. Somebody went up to Fort Worth, and all of that happened. He's a little bit of a different personality. He's a little bit like Jerry and Ely, honestly. He's a little aloof. He has a thing for wolves and drawing them. And it's absolutely fine. Do whatever you want to do. But I'm just letting you know that is the type of guy we're dealing with. He is absolutely one of the best football players that are out there. And he is going to replace Jerry and Ely and Snoop Connor by himself. Him and Quinshon Judkins, this room is fine. You have Kentrell Bullock, and also you have Henry Parrish. And that running back room is completely restocked. And you look at him, he has excellent hands. He does really well in the screen game. A couple of plays, if you watch him at TCU, he was really effective in the screen game. He's really effective in the open field. He's a 210-pound running back. He's 5'10". He's prototypical size. He's basically Jerry and Ely in Snoop Connor's body. That's what you're getting with Zach Evans. And because of that, Ole Miss is in a position to where that room is taken care of. Now they can focus on the quarterback position and the wide receiver position. And they're doing all of these things at one time. I'm not saying do things one at a time, but Zach Evans is the equivalent of Robert Kimdichie in the 2013 class. Ole Miss is close to getting those complementary pieces because what Ole Miss needs to be super successful is to find their Laramie and to find their Laquan. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that exact position, but it could have the same type impact. If somebody like, just guessing, if Caleb Williams came to Ole Miss with Zach Evans in the backfield and the coattails that are planned on the outside at receiver, potentially at tight end, you have the potential for Ole Miss to make it back to the Sugar Bowl. Because this is the scary part. They have Chance Campbell and all those guys, and two or three of those guys could disappear. But you also have people like Tywan Malone, Damon Clowney, Brandon Mack coming back is going to play a key role in this offense or defense. At linebacker, they're looking at transfers there. In the secondary, obviously they're going heavy there because half of their defense is the secondary. But you can see in the transfer portal why you expect them to move forward. So anyway, we're going to hear from our sponsors, Get Upside and BetOnline AG. But until then, we're going to come back with Tom Vanderford talking all about Ole Miss football. Hey, Ole Miss fans, this is Stephen Willis with an incredible app everyone who buys needs gas needs to know about. Get Upside. My listeners are making up to 25 cents for every gallon of gas every time they fill up. Just download the free Get Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now. Use promo code SCORE and get a bonus 25 cents per gallon in your first fill up. That's 50 cents per gallon cash back. Don't pay full price at the pump anymore. Get cash back using Get Upside. Just download the app for free and use promo code SCORE to get up to 50% per gallon cash back on your first tank. Some people who drive a lot are making as much as $200 or $300 a month in cash back, and there's no catch. The cash back gets added to your account. You can add cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, a gift card, Amazon, or other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code SCORE to get up to 50% cash back on your first tank. That's code SCORE. Sounds like a good deal. All right, BetOnline has you covered all season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before as football continues its march to the playoffs. BetOnline remains your number one spot for sports action all this season. Head to our new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use promo code LOCKEDON to receive your bonus. From basketball, football, NHL, boxing, and UFC to your favorite Vegas casino games, don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for 2021. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, we are going to begin our perspectives part of Locked On Ole Miss, the podcast. And also, thank you for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. Hit subscribe, hit the bell. You'll not only know that we're streaming, you'll know what we're streaming about. I am joined by Tom Vanderford, and this is like I said, this is part of our perspective series. And we're going to be talking about Ole Miss sports and different things. And this is kind of an unstructured thing because I'm more interested in what he has to say. How you doing, Tom?
Doing great.
All right. So it's been an interesting couple of weeks in Ole Miss football.
Yeah.
Give me your thoughts.
Well, yeah, I felt really good going into the Sugar Bowl. And then, what happened with Matt happened and kind of went downhill from there. But, I saw some good sparks from the defense. Unfortunately, the key people at each position on the defense are probably not going to be there next year. So a little worried about that. I was definitely worried about Jerry On and Snoop going pro until we got the news today with Zach Evans. And, I've read all over the internet about, I've read where people say, oh, he's a head case. He's Tim Dichie Jr. You just can't pass up that kind of talent.
No.
And also we've got to remember, even when Lane was at FAU, he got a quarterback from Oklahoma that had been kicked off the team and was able to work with him. So, and it's no secret that even Matt Corral has grown leaps and bounds, not just his football talents in the last 2 years, but his overall as a person.
Yeah, and I'm interested with Zach Evans because the way I look at the Zach Evans thing, I compare him to Robert Condici in the positive thing because you have a chance at a 2013 level class. You just have to find Laramie and Laquan.
Exactly, and they're trying.
Yes, they are absolutely trying to do that. But also, I see him as a combination of Snoop and Jerrion.
I agree.
In the backfield. So you basically they go pro, they go do whatever they're going to do, and they were always going to do it. And you've replaced that whole backfield in just one fell swoop. And also, Quinshon Judkins is he's like a baby Zach Evans. He's just a high school guy that's going to sit in that room, and we're going to play against Troy next year. We'll be up 45-7 in the third quarter, and he's going to come on the field, and you're going to be like, who's this guy?
Yeah. I think Kentrell Bullock's staying. I heard about him going in the portal, and he's had a couple of years. Maybe he can contribute as well. Yeah. I'd be when we get to quarterback, Altmaier is definitely progressing, and he's definitely a possibility. But I'd like to see some competition there. I would like to see our quarterback room a little bit deeper. If we go in with a quarterback room with it's just Luke and Kincaid Dent, I don't think that's a deep enough quarterback room. So even if they don't hit a home run and get Williams, if they get the kid from Marshall or somebody like that, or Ward, somebody just for Luke to compete with, I'm fine. Whoever wins that competition, but I think Altmaier needs somebody to push him.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think the Sugar Bowl, what Luke did in the Sugar Bowl, just meant that you absolutely have to find your starter in the portal. You can find somebody to compete with him and make that room better, and the best man wins.
Exactly. But just have a competition, whether it be Ward or whoever, and whoever comes out on top wins. Not only that, but if we have an issue like Matt Corral, we've got somebody that can replace him. I think part of the reason Matt played as much as he did this year is because, well, he was a competitor, number one, but it's because we really didn't want to put one of the other two guys for any length of time.
Yeah, and I think Luke being a true freshman, that comes out. But Luke did a heck of a job at Auburn. He completely settled that game down because we were about to get boat raced on the Plains. And he was able to settle that down and actually made it a little bit competitive.
He's
but
mentally.
Jeff Lebby didn't substitute overly anyway. It was his philosophy at offensive coordinator, the offensive line, wide receivers. The one that was most substituted was the running back position for whatever reason. But, yeah, they didn't substitute that much.
Right. And I'll be interested to see after we find out who our coordinators end up being. I know we got Charlie Weiss Jr. at OC, but I may be wrong, but I think it'll mainly be Lane that'll be the primary offensive coordinator. I think Charlie will just talk to him about what he's seeing and what formations they're using, so on and so forth, how to exploit matchups and this and that and the other from the box. But defensive coordinator, I hope they keep Partridge. He's an awesome recruiter. I mean, you look at Tysheem Johnson and Tywan Malone last year. I don't know how to say the name exactly, but Igabosin, I mean, he's key to him. So, and it would just have, it would be more consistent if we were able to keep him after losing Durkin.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Partridge is going to end up getting that job, and I think they're going to move Randall Joyner to linebacker, and they're going to promote Marquise Watson. I think the coaching thing is going to basically end there.
That's Marquise Watson's a star. Mm-hmm. He really he's a defensive line so well in the year before this one. And Joyner, that's his original position, so he's going to be familiar with that. So that all works for me.
Yeah. And I think what Ole Miss fans need to do, and I'm telling you this, and I'm telling all Ole Miss fans together, that the way they normally think of recruiting, we've been telling y'all for months that it was going to be a little bit different. And then, and just after early signing day, it was just a month-long freak out. But the problem is now for everybody, the roster is not going to be finished until August. So, yeah. So if you keep going, all of a sudden it's like, what's the point? The problem is there used to be a final day. There used to be one day, and that was National Signing Day on February 2nd, where everything was done.
Exactly.
And now there's just no dates. You got the early signing day, you got the National Signing Day, and then you got the transfer day where there's just absolutely Wild West and no deadline.
Oh, exactly. And transfers, we might not even know they've transferred to us until they've enrolled. Lane keeps everything pretty tight to the vest. He doesn't put a lot out there, which I think you agree. I think I've read tweets where you agree on that. It's kind of fun watching all the other folks kind of guess here and there. course, they're trying to sell content. I understand that,
Hmm.
but it's funny because hey, listen, he even keeps Derek Nix tight-lipped. You know, that used to be Nancy's, leaker.
Yeah, that was
And
Yancey's dude.
yeah, and it's just, I'm kind of excited to find out at the last second.
Yeah.
It-
And with the rival site and the On3 site and the 247 site, the thing with Lane is Lane got burned by the local media at USC.
Oh yeah,
They turned on him pretty quick. Lane doesn't trust them. He only used the national guys for the largest audience possible, but he does not trust the media at all, and he shouldn't, honestly. He got unbelievably burned from them. And because of that, there's people that try to connect the dots of what's going on, but act like they know what's going to happen. But they're just guessing because A plus B, they assume it's going to be C, but it just might not. And we're at the point where if I just disagree with everything that is said, everything that is reporting, I'm going to be right 90% of the time.
well, exactly. It's like the Bo Nix situation. People just took that and ran with it, and there really wasn't a there.
Yeah.
Even Nick said, I think we've exchanged text and that's it. So it's and like I said, Lane, he's just. And what'd you think about his tweet today when he had the big dolphin?
Hey, I thought that was very funny. Some people from Liberty came at me on Twitter, and I'm like, Lane's not doing that at Liberty. And he kept coming at me, and I was like, okay, you want Lane to be doing that at Liberty. Okay, take it. It's like, he got a 5-star recruit, so he tweets about, checks notes, Liberty Flames. And it was funny.
It's just, exactly. He has got to be the best internet troll ever. I mean, he's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he has somebody that does it for him or if it's him, because when you see him interview, he's like, he's very, shy, kind of, sort of. He doesn't, he's not a big rah-rah guy.
Yeah.
He's, he reminds you a lot of when Saban gives an interview,
he is 95% Pete Carroll. And that's the reason I do so well is because I was there with Coach O, and that was 100% a Pete Carroll run program. So I know what that looks like on the inside and what they're thinking and all of that. But the media and how he handles that is 100% Nick Saban. He doesn't trust them. He keeps them combative at arm's length. I mean, it's just a really, really cool thing. And because of that, I think the media, especially the local media, they're going to start to frame narratives.
Yeah.
To basically try and get rid of it because their livelihood is on the line now.
Well, exactly.
Because,
they've been cut off.
Yeah.
They're guessing, like you said, and it's hard to sell subscriptions when you don't have, the good juicy stuff. I mean, you think about. I mean, we've been Ole Miss fans forever. Think about, the 2013 class, right? And Yancey's giving us, play-by-play. Probably cost us Chris Jones. That was something that a lot of people they were driven to, and they paid that subscription, and it's a business. For those 3 sites you mentioned, it's a business.
It's absolutely their livelihood, and they handle it as such. Whether it doesn't matter if the news is. I'm not saying they make up stuff, although tradition, that's been a problem recently. But whether it's true or false doesn't matter. The question is, does it make them money or not? And their opinions is going to be 100% about what makes them money. And when it becomes Lane Kiffin and that guy, they're eventually going to turn on him, much like they did against Cut in 2002 when he interviewed up in Kentucky. When the narrative started to build up to the fan base, and then the first chance they got to get rid of Cut, they absolutely did.
I wish there was a way, and this is just dreaming, but I wish, especially with Arch being available next year, I wish there's a way now that this out of Duke. His son lives in Oxford. It's a dream, but I wish that somebody would offer him a quarterback quality control job or something. for 500K a year or something, because they're going to have the extra money, because I'm sure they're not paying Charlie Weiss Jr. what they were going to pay Levy if he stayed.
Yeah. Yeah, now I think a couple of analysts, because the offensive line analyst is going off to take an on-the-field job as well, or maybe he went to Oklahoma.
Yeah, he went to Oklahoma. Right.
So they're going to have to hire an analyst to help Jake Thornton out with the offensive line as well.
Right. So I mean, you never know, but I guess that's a pipe dream, because I do believe that if Cutcliffe was there in some form or fashion, even if it was just like just an analyst, he's there where his kid lives and his grandkids live, and he's coaching another Manning. I mean, for sure that would probably be the cherry on top for Arch.
Yeah, and it's important to remember, I'm not saying anything there is there. I'm not saying that at all. But Charlie Weiss Sr. hired David Cutcliffe after he left Ole Miss.
Right. So, we'll have to see.
Yeah, so there's a relationship there.
There's a lot going on in the background we don't know about, but I'm optimistic on next year. But like I said, I would like to see us get. This would be my dream. I would like to see us get a really good defensive end, another linebacker, really good linebacker out of the portal, and a good quarterback. I think, unfortunately, when James went out in the Sugar Bowl, we saw we had a weakness there.
I think we need to find a tackle. I'm not really worried about defensive end. I think Damon Clowney and those guys, and Brandon Mack is going to be healthy and back. But also Tawan Malone, the Dancing Bear, is going to be back, and I think he's going to start to show out a little bit next year.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think we're going to be pretty good on defense next year. And matter of fact, I don't know if we'll stay with this 3-2-6 next year or not. I mean, what's your opinion?
I think they should. I don't think this is DJ Durkin's defense. I think that's part of the reason why he left, is because this is not his defense. This is a lane thing. Yeah, I think Chris Durkin's going to do a lot of the same thing. And if for whatever reason they need to find somebody at Iowa State who basically created this defense and have been field testing it for games and years, bring them down and make them get an analyst or something from there, because they've probably seen stuff that other people haven't.
Exactly. Or like Orgeron used to do. He would take the coaches to a little mini camp, Monty Kiffin. People like that when O was there.
Yeah, I believe it or not, I was in the room for that whole Monty Kiffin session. I saw the whole thing.
That's pretty cool.
I learned so much about football just sitting in them, hearing them talk back and forth and what's going on. And we watched film, and the whole thing was recorded. I think I recorded close to 20 tapes of that Monty Kiffin thing. And I don't know if they watched it. I don't know what happened, but we had it.
You're right.
But it was pretty cool.
Yeah, a lot of people were glad to see him go, but I thought he kind of got a raw deal. I thought if he'd had one more year, he may have been there a couple more years. I'm
not a huge Coach O fan. That was a very, very hard job. And
like you do. Yeah. I've heard rumors and innuendo, but he wasn't ready for prime time. Obviously.
Yeah, I have a completely different perspective of him, Hugh Freeze, and Frank Wilson.
Yeah.
Now, I would run through a brick wall for Art Kehoe. That was one of the greatest dudes I've ever come across in my life.
Yeah.
Chris Rippon was the same way. I like John Thompson a lot. Ron Nielsen, I wouldn't piss on him.
Well, he was basically a GA type.
Yeah, he was a GA, and if you remember, Joe Cullen went to Subway naked or something.
And then he ended up being...
Yeah, and he ended up getting the job.
Yeah.
He got the job in a lot of ways the same way I got the job and got promoted up to being video coordinator, and that was just the other guy leaving and Coach O not being able to do a search.
Right.
They needed somebody right then, and they just promoted me up.
Yeah.
So... it is what it is, man. Tom, I really appreciate it, man. Thanks for stopping by. We did 18 minutes, buddy.
I enjoyed it, man.
All right, Tom Vanderford. We'll catch up with him again. Hey everyone, it's the new year, and that means New Year's resolutions. If yours is about getting fit, eating healthier, make sure to include Built Bar in your plan. Built Bar makes it easier to stick to your resolution because it tastes so good. You'll want to eat it, unlike other protein bars, which can be chalky or waxy or taste like a chemical spill. You want to eat healthy, but it just gets so boring. So by week 3, you're thinking, this is just not worth it. Where's the chocolate? Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate. So here's an idea for the new year. Go to all your secret treat stashes at home, in the pantry, at the office, in the car, wherever. Throw out all the sugary or calorie-filled treats and replace them with Built Bars. So when you're craving a snack or treat, or you can reach for something that's really healthy and tastes incredible. So go to BuiltBar.com and use promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off at Built.com. Again, go to Built.com, use promo code, and get 15% off your order. The promo code is LOCKED15 at Built.com. All right, that was kind of a cool thing. Tom Vanderford talking just random football stuff, and that's one of the things we want to do. We want this channel to be about commentary and perspectives, and any different viewpoints is going to help us. We're not going to turn around from anybody. If somebody is super negative, they can come on and talk and tell us why. If somebody's super positive, they can come on here and tell us why. They can come on and share their viewpoints because they're just as valuable as anybody else. There's no insiders currently in the program, so how you are as an individual really comes through at the moment. So we talked a little bit in the first part of the show that Zach Evans has a little bit of a wolf fetish, and not of anything in a creepy way or anything like that. He just likes drawing wolves, and that reminds me of the T-shirt from The Hangover with the wolf pack and all of that. And I think it could be actually a lot of fun and really cool to see. But apparently he likes drawing wolves. Now, I'm not 100% sure why, and I'm sure we're going to hear the story eventually of why this is happening. But my assumption is that it comes back to the fact that wolves travel in a pack, and they're excellent hunters, and they're precision pack movements and things like that. Or he could just think they look cool. I mean, it could be really interesting. I'm looking forward to him getting here for spring practice to where we get him so we can ask him about this wolf thing. I think this is going to be really cool. And I genuinely want to know why he is all in on wolves. I mean, is that strange to think of? I do not know, but it could be a lot of fun. Now we're going to talk in the coming week about what Ole Miss has in the backfield and how they're going to do. How is it going to look now? How does this affect the transfer portal? Stuff like that, day to day, we're going to hit this over because that's how big of a deal Zach Evans is coming to Ole Miss. And we're going to treat it like it is that big of a deal. So should be a lot of fun. Thank you very much for that. Thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. Like I said, next week we're going to get more into the Zach Evans thing. We're going to talk about the basketball egg bowl that is happening this weekend, and we're going to have a lot of fun with that. Now make your second listen Locked On Bets, your daily one-stop shop for all of your gambling needs. Locked On Bets, hosted by your boy Q with expert analysis from Lee Sterling. It's free and available on all platforms. Do want to thank everybody for tuning in. Hope everybody has a excellent weekend and has a lot of fun. And we're going to try and figure out exactly what we're going to do. We're going to evolve this over time. But we're going to be about commentary and perspectives. And I think that'll be really cool. Like I said, Tom did a fantastic job today. And we're going to have him on next week and what's going on. And also next week is going to be the debut of Kara McCutcheon, her perspective. We're going to talk to Bill Flowers, his perspective. And we're just going to be able to talk, and we're going to use this as a vehicle to kind of get y'all's voice out. Whenever people just want to talk and everybody post and do whatever they need, this is a nice place, a nice microphone to get your viewpoints out and get them heard. That is my goal here. So anyway, have a great weekend. And of course, hotty toddy.